Okay, whether the screen is available to you, visible to you on your screen?
Yes, sir.
Omkar. Okay, okay. Okay, shall, no, shall we begin the class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, okay, your module 1 and module 2, people have already dealt with. Okay, as we had some basic concepts on sales management, which we people have already dealt into. Fine. So we have something in the third module, which we go with like a core part of any sales management, where crucial part we can say, which is going to be handled strategically by the head of the department of sales management, right? So few things like sales territory and quotas, sales quotas. We are going to discuss, in this module 3, how if you people just recall your marketing management concepts which you people have studied into your module, okay, maybe you're on module 3 of your first semester, right? Where we had divided the market into some homogeneous groups, what we call them as segments, and after doing a lot of assessment into the segment, by going through different segments and the type of products and services which is going to be offered by an organization. Okay, and if both the needs of the segment and say the product or services which is being offered by the organization, both of them match together, and then we can say that company is going to select those segments. So those segments can become their target market. So among the target markets, we people may divide it into a subgroup if it is required on the basis of handling capacity. Those segments which are going to be a target market to the to the organization, right? And those target market, if they are very bigger enough, larger enough in handling, and it becomes very difficult for handling, at that time what they do is those target markets will be divided on the basis of certain area. Okay, and each area will be having certain amount of say uh, sales amount of your present customers, they may be, or maybe a potential customers. On that, on those basis, the organization will be assigning few sales people, maybe a team of sales people who will be looking after it, or maybe sometimes individual salesperson who will be handling that particular territory, who is responsible for sales which happens in those territories. Fine. So handling the customers as well as the finding the potential customers in those areas is a duty of a sales manager, sorry, a sales executive who is responsible for handling that territory, as well as maybe a team of sales people who will be working on handling the territory. So what we do, we just take that, the concept of target marketing. From there we'll continue further, right? So what happens here is like, where sales territories is a grouping of customers, and we also say it as prospects assigned to an individual salesperson, right? Okay, sorry for the interruption. Fine. So what we do, we'll begin with the sales strategy. As I told you, people, where you take any sales strategy, that is a process or say a work of any sales manager or a departmental head of a sales, department, where they are going to find customers and they are going to group them. Okay, they are going to group them in the form of, they say, the current customers or maybe a prospect customers, which will be handled by one individual salesperson who is responsible for that. So we identify those group of customers or the prospects who are there or residing in certain areas. Okay, those areas will be given to handle, okay, by certain salesperson, maybe individual salesperson, or even you people can take a group of salespeople. Ultimately, what happens if there are a group of salespeople also, they will be also dividing the work or activities which has to be carried out in those territories. Okay, they also do it individually. Okay, Okay, it as we have done, what I said, assigned to a single, salesperson, or even as I told you, where it can be a group of salespeople who will be handling, a sales territory. Okay, and sometimes the territory will be having a branch itself, as a separate branch, which is going to be, in the form of a smallest office, which will be taking care of all the selling activities, which has to be, taken care by the organization. They give that to that particular branch who will be looking after that specific area. Or it may be something given to a dealer or to a distributor, or sometimes a marketing organization at a given period of time. It may be a complete marketing organization who will be handling those territories. Fine. So you just keep in the mind where what happens in the sales territory is you find a group of customers along with maybe a potential customers also, okay, present and potential customers, which is going to be given to an individual salesperson, group of salespeople, okay, who will be looking after the entire sales activities of department in those particular areas. So we have some territories which are going to be defined, okay, on the basis of geographical boundaries in many organizations. As I told you, usually what happens when we say territory, it comes to mind that it works on area wise, a boundary, a geographical area, which we people are going to divide, and this will be helping us in handling sales in a more effective way. Okay, efficiently it can be dealt also. So to get more productivity from the side of say individual salesperson or a group of salespeople, if you give or assign them certain areas, they will look after. Okay. So in broader term, if you want to say, it is a geographical area that will be identifying and also serves a category and a certain number of customers. To little, if we go further in defining the territory, okay, it can also say that the geographical area, which will be helping you people to identify it, and you people can have certain specific categories which will be served to those customers who are residing in those areas, okay, and some group of customers which we people can take. So, however, in some instance happens. Now, I cannot say that all the time the companies will be looking after into dividing a geographical area and they constructed territories for that, boundaries to that. No, sometimes happens. It may be an emergency suddenly comes to any organization, or it also depends on the capacity of the organization in handling the territory. One, so how much capable the organization is. If we divide between smaller firms and the bigger firms has n number of people with them, a huge quantity, means a huge number of sales people with them, a strong sales force, right? Along with the resources which is required to handle the territory, maybe many money, machine methods, etc. Right? So along on those basis, people can say that a smaller firms which are going to get a very smallest market, they don't go with the territories usually. They for them it is entire market which will be handled by one or two people, right? Who will be assigned to that territory. Okay, so they don't divide the territory on the basis of geographic areas or designs. They go with sometimes very specific niche market where very unique type of needs which may be there with the certain customers which cannot be handled by a larger firms who believes in customization, okay, sorry, who believes in standardization. And if customization happens, it becomes very difficult for larger firms when they're serving bigger markets. So niche market can be handled properly by very smallest firms which can earn better profit by concentrating on a type of customers, okay, not on the type of geographical area. Okay, and what happens is there are some situations where companies going to be building a sales territories on the basis of urgency, as I told you people, and sometimes frequency of the customers required rather than geographical area. So you go with a customer's need rather than going with your need of handling customers on the basis of geographical concept. Right? So you go with customers and however customer requires on that basis the people are going to serve them. Fine. Okay. Any doubts you people have in identifying or understanding the sales territory? If people have any doubts here, if people can please clarify now only. Otherwise, I will be continuing with the further concepts. Am I audible to you? Vaishnavi, Tanvi, then
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Yes, sir.
okay. Thank you. Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
sir, you're audible.
Fine. We have next, like yeah, okay. Now we have certain factors to be considered when designing these territories. So these factors which will be acting in the form of even process also, but we consider them as a factors before we do. So what we do, it actually starts with selecting a basic control unit, then to determine the sales potential in that particular unit. How you define that sales control unit, this very much important, and how much sales potential can expect from those each control unit. Then now you people have to say that how to determine the basic territories, and once the territories are defined on the basis of certain criteria, and how you people are going to assign those territories to the sales managers, I mean sales people, fine. And then later on you should have a customer contact plan, because sales territories, once they're assigned to a selling person, a sales, maybe individual salesperson or group of salespeople, they have to plan that how to cover the market, and what are the possible way of reaching the customer, so contacting the customer. Later on you evaluate, revise if it is needed, if the territory is too small or maybe too bigger, or maybe not done properly, the basic on which basis on which that territory has been developed. So whether they are right or wrong, it all depends on the end when you people are going to revise them. Okay, and these all people who are there uh, responsible for handling that territory, they will be giving the inputs to the decision maker who are responsible for constructing territories, and also assigning the people to those territories. Sorry. So we go one by one, like selecting a basic geographical control unit. What we do, so this is a step where we say the establishment of territory has begun. So we say it as very beginning stage, what we say a starting point where we people are going to establish a territories. Maybe like an example, we usually begin with what? We begin with the country, okay, as a one territory. Then among the country, we go on dividing districts. Among the districts, we may also divide the territory on the basis of cities, okay, on the basis of later once the city is done, sorry, states, then we go with this district, and then we go with the city, okay. On the basis of this, geographical already units which has been already divided by our government, authorities. On that basis also we people can consider. Later on we can subdivide and make our own strategies of handling, okay, those areas. It depends. It doesn't mean that whatever has been given by maybe a government or anybody, we have to follow it. No, even the cities can also be divided among talukas, where few talukas can be, where for example few talukas can be also clubbed, and we can say it as one territory. Fine. A few districts can be clubbed and we can say it as a territory. Or sometimes few states which are nearby, they are going to be clubbed and we can say it as a one territory which can be assigned to a group of people or individual salesperson. Fine. It all depends how many number of customers are there, how frequently a customer contact plan has to be made, that on that basis you people can decide whether it should be only one individual person as a salesman, or it may be a group of salespeople who will be looking into the territory activities. Okay, trading areas as the base. Okay, you can say, like where business happens more to an organization. Okay, maybe that territories. Fine. So you can have high trading areas and low trading areas can be a two type of territories, okay, which can be constructed by a sales department. Fine. On the basis of business, how much an area gives to the organization. Fine. Then we have a trading area consists of geographical regions surrounding a city. As I told you, that serves as a dominant retail or maybe a wholesale center or maybe both sometimes. So you should see that the area which we people are going to have a trade, highest trade, is It may be a good for a retail business or some maybe a area which is meant for wholesale centers where many of them can come. They buy and then they go it to they take those products to the other areas for reselling it. So vary from product to product. We cannot say that what only on the basis of geographic we people do. Sometimes product can also affect as a factor where what type of territories has to be considered. So not all the products sells into certain territories. So sometimes a product can also demand for certain areas which is accepted. Where in that area the product which is going to be accepted. So on that basis also people can divide the area, okay, or construct the territory. And next we have something determining the second one, determining the sales potential present in each control unit. Once you people find it's a control unit and you people can identify how much business can be brought by that particular area. Okay, so identifying the buyers, that how many numbers of potential buyers are there in that particular area, how much business those buyers can give you, right? So that is a basic thing. You have to once you people are determining the sales potential for that particular control unit which you people have taken in hand. Okay, so first thing is identify the buyers. Okay, and how much the present customers if we have there, okay, along with the potential buyers, which will be giving you the complete idea about what may be the total market potential. So total market potential can be had by both. It may be you as a company, or sometimes there may be competitors also will be just running behind to take their share out of the total market potential. So you have to calculate what is the total potential of the market on the basis of the present customers of you, as well as maybe a potential buyers who may be like okay, will be who may be associated with the your company in the future. So you have to calculate the total market potential on the basis of both of them, right? The business which is going to be given by a present customers, the probable business which you people can receive from the potential buyers. Okay. So next third we have determination of sales potential. Say for example like that is like units market potential that the company has an opportunity to obtain. Now you say out of total market potential, how much business can be earned? What is the probable share of a business, okay, which can be taken out of the total market potential? Okay, so you should find what is the sales potential for your products, okay, or services which you people want to offer to that particular market. So you have to calculate one market potential. Out of that, what is your potential, sales potential, individual sales potential of a company in earning some sort of share out of the total potential compared to the competitors, because that is something an opportunity you can find that you people can look into unmet needs of the customers there. Maybe a similar type of products are sold by your competitors, but the approach that you people have towards the customers in those segments can also make some difference, okay, in getting more number of more amount of sales, potential sales or a share out of the total market potential. Fine. So then fourth we have like market potential is covered to sales potential by analyzing the historical share, market share data. This can be helping how you people can forecast. There are many things to forecast, but one is very what we say dominant one and promising one for any maybe a sales department in understanding how much sales can be earned by particular market. Just they go and they recourse their historical sales data with what those people have done in the market, that particular control unit, how much those people have done, and what were the strategies those people have already used at that moment. So their historical market share can also help them to predict year by year what they have done and improvement, or maybe some decline has happened. On that base also both sides they can find how much decline can happen or how much increase can happen into the sales in the future. So adjusting for changes in the company and also competitor selling strategies. Now, if you want to cover, okay, want to convert the market potential to your individual sales potential of the company is not just enough for understanding what you people have done in the past, going through this historical market share, okay, analysis. Fine. What do people have to do along with that? What are the possible adjustments that you people can do into the company to suit to the challenges which is being posed by the market? So whatever the market is giving the challenge to the organization, in in getting the sales out of it. So you have to overcome the challenges which is being given by the market, which consists of competing products or say the competitors selling strategies into the market. They can also act like a challenges, hurdles for any organization in taking some share out of it. So company can also need to change, okay, itself, and bring a new type of strategies. Even sometimes the strategies which you people bring new into the organization for developing a good sales potential for you in that particular market. So you have to sometimes change the organization structure. You have to change the people, their capabilities, their skills, right? So many things involved, behind the stage where if you want to perform better in the that particular market. Okay, fine. So there are basic, six types, to consider when determining a firm's basic territory. Okay, steps that you people have to consider. Here we have one step. We have forecast the sales and determine, sales potential. Okay, so this is something. It purely depends on the experience of the company and the data which a company is having internally. So what has to be done, like a data which can be even can be fetched by some syndicate sources who are on the regular basis, who do research into that particular market into which you people want to enter, right? So what you people can do, you people can find agencies who have already interested into collecting data, and on regular basis those agencies keep a data, okay, and you people can pay something, whatever it is, a deal, and you people can buy that particular data. So what do people have to do in the first? Forecasting the sales, you can be doing it on the basis of the data what you people have in your hand, okay, and also the determine the sales potential in that particular territory. Basically, what you people want to enter into, you have to see the what is the potential of the sales that you people can find in that particular territory. Once you people are confirmed about the required potential, which is being in need of hour for any company, that minimum that potential should be there, then only they can enter. If that is going to be confirmed, go to your next step. What is that? Determine the sales volume needed for each territory. Now, what amount of units that is actually required to survive in the particular territory? Now, that particular, for example, like you have, say, some amount of units. If it is not going to be sold in that particular territory, that leads to loss for the company, right? So they have to assess or determine that the sales volume which is compulsory needed for each territory. Okay, if that much of sales that is going to be gained by the territory, then only the minimum criteria to consider that as their territory, sales territory, will be met. Then we have the third one, determine the number of territories. So organization has to see to it that what is its capability, and how many number of territories can be hold it, or say handled by the company. So decision about the number of territories which they want to enter into is completely based on the second step what those people have done, forecasting it, and the minimum sales which is going to be required by a company in those territories. If those two are met, then we have some few territories in the hand, and let the company can decide how many territories they want to enter. There are many things sometimes where there's a huge potential, but if you don't have so much of human resource in handling the number of territories what you people have decided, so you can reduce the number of territories as per the capability of the organization, okay, in handling the territories. So less number of resource, so less number of sales people, and the lesser the resource the company is having. Usually they go for a smaller territories, smaller number of a little number of territories. Okay. Then once you people determine the number of territories, then you can tentatively establish the territories. You say tentatively means with something is probably not sure about the complete territory and its information. Okay, the confidence still yet is not being generated in the organization on the territory. So tentatively, people can establish certain territories which a company wants to handle or enter. Okay. In the fifth step, what you people have to do is determine the number of accounts for each territory. Okay. Now it's a very crucial thing. Tentatively, people say these are the territories, but next also you people can find a number of accounts or customers. We say accounts are nothing but a customers. So you can find a number of customers or potential customers who are residing in those areas. So you should be very careful about them, especially that if you want to gain more number of profit and you have something in idea in the mind that what may be your targets of achieving the profit in those territories. If those profits are not going to be met by the present number of customers, I think you shouldn't go with those territories. So you should find that the potential of profit that you people get out of the territory depends on the total number of customers who are residing there. So are there sufficient number of customers or potential customers that where you people can identify in those territories? If they are there, yes, then you people can go ahead with the further process of finalizing the sixth step, finalizing the territories and also draw the boundary line. Now, why we do this? Because once we finalize the territories, the reason behind drawing the boundary line is because to handle those territories, multiple territories by same type of organization with a different sales people, it shouldn't lead to a conflict. So, because one territory which is assigned to a single salesperson, okay, the profits and loss both are going to be on his own shoulders. So he is a person who is accountable for the profits and the losses into that territory. So if any other salesman enters in that particular territory or a boundary, okay, and if the multiple salespeople are working on same, they stress upon having good business out of a same customer, single customer. So that leads to a problematic part. So here what they do is they draw the boundary line just to differentiate who is responsible for which type of territories, and no other salesperson will be entering into those territories just to reduce the conflicts and ambiguity in understanding and also handling the sales. Fine. So any doubts here in this? The six steps to consider while you people are defining a firm's basic territories. Tanvi, Shreyansh,
Yes, sir.
Minas, Omkar, huh? Any anybody else you have any doubts still here?
No, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So we continue further. Okay. The next step we have like assign the territories. Now this is a job where once the territories has been decided by going through all the six criteria steps what we people have done. Now the organization is having few number of territories with them. Now what has to be done? That sales territories has to be assigned to some. Those territories has to be assigned to some salespeople or maybe a group of salespeople. Here we have some condition like some salespeople are having so much of capability that those people can handle a larger territory, fine, and they have so much of capability where they can travel around, okay, and they can handle it. Or there are certain salespeople who are not so much of capable of handling the bigger or larger territory. So on the basis of capacity of the salespeople, also we people decide what number or how many numbers or say the quantity of territories has to be assigned to them. So some salespeople can handle larger territories and also the and the travel associated with them, or some cannot do that. So what we do, especially when it comes to some territories which requires a salesperson with a huge experience, okay, the experienced salesperson is very much required if the market is very competent. Okay, there are huge number of competitors who are running behind a single customer, same customers. Okay, in those cases, what happens is there should be a salesperson from the side of a company who can overtake, okay, the strategies of the competitors only on the basis of his experience. It can happen. So you should find certain salespeople with a higher experience for the territories which are very characteristic in nature, and handling them is very difficult. Okay, so here we have like some territories requires experienced salespeople and some best for the new people. Now, if the territory are already existing by the company, okay, sorry, they are existing into the company's consideration or say a preference list, okay, and already the market has been settled down. Okay, no need of experienced person or say any salesperson who has to build the territory. So build the territory is completely under the control of the organization. Only there must be one person who will be just overlooking into the activities of sales there. So probably a new person can also be good enough in taking care of the territory existing okay in in the basket of the organization, right? And organization already has been developed. No need to take extra effort of making extra sales, right? So some people want to live in metropolitan areas. So salesperson can also refuse to join or handle certain territories which may be something away from the metropolitan areas. If they are living there, their family problems are there, they have to look after their families. Sometimes they say that we want certain territories where we can comfortably work. So other prefer territories with very smaller cities. Some people love to be in smaller cities and they don't want to take much tension of having a huge competition from the competitors. So those people are paid less, but still they are kept in the company just to handle a smaller territory, smaller cities, right? So once you people assign the these territories to the salespeople, next is that the salespeople will come to know what is the territory which is being assigned to him, or what are the territories which has been assigned to him. One side, and second, he is given a complete knowledge about type of present customers they have already in those markets, and also along with that what may be the potential customers, number of potential customers. Probably a salesperson can also have them convert them into the company's customers, right? So what thing those people have to do is like those people have to come with a customer contact plan. So once they come to know, as I told, their territory and their customers, their idea should be about how best they can reach those customers. So here, to reach those customers, okay, any salesperson, what he can do is the customer contact plan, which will be involving scheduling the sales cost. So he has to schedule the sales call. So how to meet the customers, when to take an appointment. Okay, once that he takes appointment, he will schedule the timing. Okay, and also routing can also happen. Routing is what how a salesperson is going to travel from one customers to the other customers. So he has to have a plan that once the appointment has been taken, and each appointment should be fixed in such a way that the entire day should be very productive enough for him. So at the same time, two appointments cannot be taken. So what he does that he has to make his routing, how he has to travel in that particular area to cover the entire territory in a very effective manner, efficient manner. So salesperson movement around the territory is also very much important. Along with that, doing a sales call and getting the appointment from the customer. Fine. So then once a contact plan is done, they handle the customers. After few contacts, the uh, the salesperson will come to an idea that whether this territory which is being given to him after construction which has been done by the top management, okay, or maybe any responsible person in the sales department, he can give a feedback to the department stating that whether the territories can be handled by a single person, or whether he require a group of people there, or the territory which is being constructed, whether it has been done properly or not. Okay. So maybe an example like the territory which is being constructed on the basis of the type of product and services is sold in those markets, and whatever the product and services the company is offering in those territories, okay, in that particular territory, sorry. So they can say that these products are not suitable for this territory, and getting sales becomes very difficult for the salesman. They can give the feedback in such a way that the match between the territory, the customer's requirement in those territory, and the product and services which is being offered by the company to those territories are not properly matching. So what happens? You can take a corrective action. So you can rearrange or reorganize the territories sometimes. on the basis of certain problems if it is going to be faced. If not, then so people can go with the present strategy of this. So evaluate, revise if it is needed. So after evaluation, whatever has been done, designing the territories, that is a proper one. If not, then go with the revised one. So once again, you start with the basic control unit. The same territory can be considered as a basic control unit and go with all the procedures which has been already covered in the previous planning process. Okay. So this was all about your part one of sales management module three. Okay. What we do today, we are going to think we are going to end up the class here only. Right? So any doubts that you people have?
No, sir.
Any doubts that you people have?
No, sir.
Okay, fine then. Shall we wind up the class?